I still remember the way his hand trembled slightly when he slid it up my thigh under the soft hum of the ceiling fan in his small downtown apartment. The windows were open, but the August heat did not let up. His lips were pressed against my collarbone, whispering promises that melted into my skin like warm honey. "You are my forever, Haley," he said, just moments before I gave him the most sacred part of myself, my body, my innocence, my trust. That night, I believed I was handing myself to the man I would marry. That night, I believed in everything he said. 3 months later, I stood at my parents' dinner table, fork suspended midair, heart pounding like thunder in my chest, as my younger sister Emily flashed a diamond ring and screamed, "I am getting married." To him. To Jordan Rivers. My first love. My only love. The man who took my virginity and promised me forever, now kissing the hand of my baby sister. Before I unfold this deeply personal story, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for subscribing to this channel and allowing me to be this vulnerable with you. If you are new here or returning but have not yet subscribed, please, I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button right now. It is your support that fuels this channel. It is the energy that keeps stories like mine alive and raw. Also, please do not forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Tell me if you have ever trusted someone who tore you apart from the inside out. Let us connect. Let us heal, together. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. My name is Haley Brooks. I was born and raised in a peaceful suburban neighborhood in Roswell, Georgia. It was the kind of place where neighbors waved at each other from the porch and teenagers grew up going to the same schools, swimming in the same lakes, and attending the same church on Sundays. I grew up in a stable, loving home with my parents, David and Monica, and my younger sister, Emily. We were the kind of family that celebrated Taco Tuesdays, took road trips to Tennessee, and had family game nights that ended with laughter and popcorn fights. But beneath that perfect surface was a storm I never saw coming. Emily was always the center of attention. Blonde, bubbly, with a natural flair for drama and charm. People adored her. Teachers, friends, even strangers. She walked into a room and lit it up. I, on the other hand, was more reserved. I liked books, sketching, and writing letters to a future husband I dreamed of meeting. I never envied Emily. I loved her. Deeply. Fiercely. I protected her. Even when she annoyed me. She was my little sister. My best friend. My shadow. Which makes this betrayal even harder to tell. Jordan Rivers came into my life the summer before my sophomore year in college. I was working part-time at a bookstore downtown. He walked in wearing a gray hoodie, slightly wet from the summer rain, asking for a poetry book by Pablo Neruda. He had the kind of voice that wrapped itself around you like a familiar blanket, low, smooth, patient. His eyes were hazel, with flecks of green and gold, and when he smiled, the right side of his lip curled just a little higher than the left. It was crooked. It was real. He came back the next day. And the next. At first, it was coffee. Then walks in the park. Then hours on the phone talking about music, politics, his dreams, my fears. He was 5 years older. He had just launched a small startup in Atlanta. He spoke about life as if he had seen both the worst and best of it. He made me feel seen. He made me feel like I mattered. 3 months into our secret relationship, secret because I did not want Emily or my parents interfering, I found myself in his arms, in his apartment, whispering yes to a moment I had saved for the right man. It was slow. It was clumsy. It was perfect in all the ways first times are when you are deeply in love. Afterwards, we lay tangled in each other's limbs. He kissed the top of my head and said, "You are it for me. No one else." I smiled in the dark and believed every word. After that night, things changed. Slowly at first. He said he was busy with work. That he was under pressure. That he would call, then forgot. That he would come by, but never showed. I waited. Texted. Waited some more. Then one day, he told me he was traveling for a few months for an investment opportunity. That it was sudden. That he was sorry. He kissed me on the forehead and left. When I came home from college for Thanksgiving, the house was full. Laughter, cousins, food, Emily's loud music playing upstairs. I had been gone for 3 months. Jordan had not called. I walked into the dining room with a smile. My parents were standing. Emily had both hands covering her face, giggling like a schoolgirl. Then she shouted, "I am getting married." Everyone screamed. Cheered. She turned and pointed toward the door, beaming. And there he stood. Jordan Rivers. In a suit. Smiling. My Jordan. No, her Jordan. My legs nearly gave out. I gripped the table to steady myself. No one noticed. Not even him. He walked to Emily, kissed her cheek, and held her close. He never looked at me. But I stared. Because he was the man who took my virginity and promised me forever. Now standing beside my sister, promising her everything. The weight of silence can suffocate a person. After that dinner, I disappeared upstairs like a ghost, while the rest of the family basked in Emily's engagement glow. My heart was breaking into pieces so loud inside me, I thought someone would hear it. But no one did. No one suspected a thing. Not even Emily, who was too busy waving her diamond ring around like she had won the lottery. And in some twisted way, she had. She had won him. Jordan did not speak to me that evening. Not even a glance. But I felt him. I felt his presence, thick and heavy like smoke in a burning house. Every time he laughed, I flinched. Every time he touched her, I wanted to scream. But I did not. I smiled when I had to. I hugged her when she asked. I bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood, just to keep from crying. A few days after the announcement, Jordan came by the house to help Emily with wedding planning. My parents were thrilled. Emily was ecstatic. I stayed hidden in my bedroom with the door locked. That evening, while I was in the backyard trying to breathe, I heard footsteps. "Haley," he said. I turned. He was standing behind me, his hands buried deep in his coat pockets. His eyes looked tired, like he had not slept in weeks. "You should not be out here," I said flatly, avoiding his gaze. "I need to talk to you. There is nothing left to say." He stepped closer. "You know I never meant for this to happen." "Then what exactly did you mean to happen?" I asked, finally looking at him. "You disappeared. You ghosted me. And now you are engaged to my sister?" He opened his mouth, then shut it again. He looked like a coward, and in that moment, I realized that he truly was one. "I did love you," he whispered. I shook my head. "No, you used me. And now, you are going to marry her and pretend none of it ever happened. Just leave me alone, Jordan." He stood there for a moment longer, like he expected forgiveness. But I turned and walked away. It became nearly impossible to sleep. I would close my eyes and see him kissing my sister, then remember him tracing his fingers down my spine. I would hear Emily giggling about her honeymoon plans, and recall the way Jordan had once said he wanted to take me to Santorini. Everything felt like a dream, no, a nightmare I could not wake from. But I could not tell anyone. Not my mother. Not my best friend. Certainly not Emily. Because who would believe me? Who would believe that the perfect fiancé she had brought home was the same man who once made love to me under starlight and whispered forever? 2 weeks later, Emily burst into my room holding a dusty pink box with satin ribbons. "Guess what?" she squealed. "You are going to be my maid of honor." I stared at her blankly. "Emily, I do not think." "Oh, come on, do not be a brat," she said playfully. "You are my sister. My best friend. I need you by my side. Say yes." I wanted to scream. But I said yes. Because what choice did I have? The months that followed were the most painful of my life. Every dress fitting, every wedding catalog, every brunch with the bridal party felt like a dagger being twisted deeper into my chest. And the worst part? Jordan kept looking at me when he thought no one was watching. At one rehearsal dinner, while Emily showed off centerpieces, I caught him staring at me from across the table. His gaze lingered too long. My heart raced with confusion and fury. He was marrying her. But his eyes were still on me. Emily's bachelorette party was at a cabin 2 hours outside Atlanta. Her college friends rented a van and stocked it with champagne, balloons, and glitter sashes. I rode silently, pretending to laugh at their jokes. That night, I stepped outside to take a call, and when I returned, I overheard 2 of the bridesmaids talking in the hallway. "He is cute, but something is off about him," one girl said. "Oh, totally," the other replied. "Did you know he used to date someone before Emily, like seriously dated her?" "I think it was someone in the same town." "Do you think Emily knows?" "Nope. But it was recent." "I think he ghosted the girl." "Men are trash." I froze. They did not know they were talking about me. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. The night before the wedding. The house was buzzing with activity. My mother was running around with lists and curling irons. Emily was glowing. And Jordan was, oddly quiet. That night, I sat in the guest room, staring out the window, replaying every moment of the last year in my mind. Then I heard the soft knock. I knew it was him before I opened the door. "Please," he said, stepping inside. "Just give me 5 minutes." I did not speak. He sat on the edge of the bed, head in hands. "I cannot marry her, Haley." I felt my breath catch. "Then why are you?" "Because, she told me she was pregnant." The room fell silent. "Pregnant? Are you serious?" I asked. He nodded. I panicked. I thought it was the right thing to do. I stood up. "So you are marrying her out of pity? What kind of man are you?" "I loved you, Haley." "I still do." His voice cracked. My hands were shaking. "You should have told me," I said. "You should have had the decency to tell me the truth." "I am telling you now. Run away with me. Tonight. We can disappear. You and me, like we always talked about." My chest heaved. He was serious. He was willing to leave my pregnant sister the night before their wedding, for me. But before I could answer, the door flung open. Emily stood there. Eyes wide. Face pale. And in her hand, a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. The room went silent. The kind of silence that wraps its cold fingers around your throat and chokes the air out of your lungs. Emily stood there frozen, gripping a wine bottle and 2 glasses like weapons. Her eyes darted between me and Jordan, the man she was supposed to marry in less than 24 hours. The way her jaw tightened, the slight quiver in her lips, it was clear she had heard enough to understand what was going on. Still, she said nothing. Neither did I. And Jordan, he did what cowards always do. He lowered his head like a dog that knew it was about to be kicked. Emily broke the silence first. "I brought wine," she said, her voice disturbingly calm. "I thought we could have a last toast as sisters." I stepped forward slowly. "Emily." "Save it," she said sharply. Her smile vanished. "I should have known. The moment he started looking at you differently, I should have known." She set the glasses down on the dresser with a loud clink, her hand trembling now. "I saw the way you flinched when we announced the engagement. I saw how you avoided eye contact. I wanted to believe it was nothing. I wanted to believe my sister would never." "Emily," I interrupted, forcing my voice to stay even. "You need to know that he was mine first. Before you ever brought him home." Her eyes widened. "What?" I looked directly at her now. "He and I were together. For nearly a year. He took my virginity. He told me he loved me. And then he disappeared without a word, until he showed up on your arm. Jordan stood up suddenly. It was not like that. Shut up, Emily hissed, glaring at him. A tear rolled down her cheek, but she brushed it away with fury. You told me I was special. You told me you wanted a family. I thought you were pregnant, Jordan said, his voice cracking. Her eyes narrowed. Thought? Another silence. Then she laughed, a hollow, bitter sound. You idiot, she said, laughing again. I am not pregnant. I never was. Jordan looked like someone had punched the air out of him. What? Emily shrugged. I told you that because I knew you were slipping away. I knew you were not over her. And guess what? I was right. Jordan stepped back, his legs unsteady. You lied to me. You both lied, she snapped. So spare me the outrage. That night, everything came undone. Emily did not cry like I expected. She screamed. Threw the wine bottle against the wall. Tore her dress apart. She let rage swallow her whole, and it was terrifying to watch. But the most terrifying part? I understood her. Because I had screamed like that too, months ago, when I sat in my college dorm, staring at my phone, wondering why Jordan had ghosted me after the night I gave him everything. Jordan tried to explain. Apologize. Beg. But Emily was done. I will not marry a man who fumbles between sisters like we are toys on a shelf, she spat. I stood still, heart racing, ashamed but no longer silent. You should both leave, she said, looking at me. I do not care where you go or what you do. Just get out of my life. The next morning, the wedding venue was quiet. No guests. No flowers. No music. Just an empty hall filled with what could have been, and never would be. My parents were devastated. My mother cried into her coffee. My father blamed himself. But they did not know the full story. Emily never told them. And neither did I. It was not for them to carry. This was our mess. Jordan left town a week later. Sent me one last text I never responded to. I am sorry for everything. I still love you. I deleted it without a second thought. 2 years later, the return of a ghost. Life moved on. I graduated. Took a job in Denver. Cut my hair. Found peace in small things. I went to therapy. I learned to forgive myself. Emily and I. We did not speak for nearly a year. But one day, she showed up at my apartment unannounced. No makeup. No fancy clothes. Just pain and exhaustion etched into her face. We sat in silence for a while. Then she said, "You really loved him, did you not?" I nodded. "So did I," she whispered. I reached across the table and took her hand. And for the first time since it all happened, we cried together. Sisters again. Not perfect. But healing. I heard about him through mutual friends. His startup failed. Investors pulled out. He moved from city to city, trying to find a fresh start. One day, he messaged me on social media. He wanted to meet. Said he needed closure. Out of curiosity, and perhaps strength, I said yes. We met at a small cafe near the park where we had our first kiss. He looked different. Older. Tired. His eyes, once bright with ambition, now dulled by regret. I ruined everything, he said. I nodded. Yes, you did. I never stopped